Major drama at Lakewood Church today as Joel Osteen's service was disrupted by abortion rights activists who filmed their protest and then posted it on social media.
It's my body, my choice.
Okay, we had to bleep that out. 3 activists with Texas Rise Up for Abortion Rights stood up and shouted, you saw it there, my body, my choice, then stripped down to their underwear at the beginning of the Lakewood service. That was this morning. They continued their chant as they were escorted out of the sanctuary.
And that precisely because of how ferocious this is, there is a basis for people to see it and be woken up in the millions to fight against it. But only if we get out there and challenge them with the truth and struggle with them fiercely to wake up and join this fight now before it is too late. RiseUpForAbortionRights.org mobilized beautiful, powerful protests on International Women's Day, March 8th.
One thing I will say, the Revolutionary Communist Party, I was briefly around them. They were the group that was the most visible when I was in high school. They had a bookstore I used to hang out at. And, you know, the Revolutionary Communist Party, RCP, the Maoists, they're getting a lot of bad press right now. And they don't deserve it, right? I don't agree with what they're doing. I gave a whole speech about abortion. I personally, I personally think abortion should be legal because we don't have a religious government in the United States. I think we don't have a religious government here, and that whether or not a fetus is a life is a question of religious belief. So we should be, and I think that Roe versus Wade should have stayed intact. I'm against overturning it, but my position is that we can't play into the polarization around it because that's feeding what the capitalists want, But the RCP, Sansara Taylor, who's a member of the Revolutionary Communist Party, abortion is her issue for years. I mean, she's a very militant pro-choice activist. I mean, that's her history as being pro-choice. And so Sansara Taylor has organized this group called Rise Up for Abortion Rights. And honestly, I do not agree with what they're doing. They're disrupting church services. I think that's reprehensible. They shouldn't be doing it, right? What they're doing, they went into Joel Osteen's church and they disrupted it and all that. But to be fair, I just want to point this out, and I'm actually going to send out the article because, right? So what RCP is doing, right, is that they are becoming the most extreme voice of what the liberals are doing, right? That's what they're doing, right? They're just, the liberals are all fired up about abortion right now. And so, they're just doing what communist groups in America tend to do, which is whatever the liberals are doing, they do it louder. And liberals are screaming about abortion. And so the RCP, right, they're pandering to liberals and they're disrupting church services and they're acting crazy. Okay, I mean, I don't agree with it. I think what they're doing, the Revolutionary Communist Party, what they're doing is not good, but that's what they're doing. That's what communist groups in America tend to do at this point. Whatever the liberals are doing, that's what they do. So they're doing what communist groups generally do. And so you would think the wokes, right? The wokes are just going to love them, right? The Vosh and ContraPoints and those people should love the RCP. Well, they're being canceled. They're being canceled. This is an article the Daily Beast ran, and it was picked up by Yahoo News and went everywhere. Is this communist cult trying to hijack the abortion movement? I'm serious. They're being canceled. They're being canceled by the wokes. They're doing exactly what the wokes say to do. Scream and yell about abortion, offend people, run and take your clothes off in churches, act like nuts. They're doing exactly what the wokes want them to do. And are the wokes going, wow, well, we may not agree with you about Mao Zedong thought, but we respect. No, they are not doing that. They're trying to cancel them. And they're being canceled now because the wokes don't need us. We got to get this through our heads. They don't need us. The Democratic Party, this isn't the 1930s. Roosevelt needed us. Roosevelt was under attack. He was facing a fascist coup, and he needed the labor movement, and he needed the Soviet Union to be his ally against Hitler, and Roosevelt needed the communists. And so the Popular Front was the correct strategy during the Roosevelt years. But Biden and Vosh and Bernie Sanders and AOC don't fucking need us. They don't need us. They don't need us. And so they're doing exactly, they are sucking woke dick and they're acting crazy and they're making abortion the main issue. And do the wokes care? And do the wokes go, wow, thanks, guys. We needed that. No, they don't say that. They're canceling them. They're canceling them. Mainstream media is going after the RCP. It's an authoritarian cult, and it's a cult tied in with Bob Avakian, and they support Mao, who's a brutal Stalinist dictator, blah, blah, blah. And they're canceling them. They don't need us. Out of the movement to the masses. 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 Joe Biden doesn't need us. He doesn't want us, and he doesn't need us. Kamala Harris doesn't want us and doesn't need us. AOC doesn't want us and doesn't need us. Do you know who needs us right now? The people in Texas who lost electricity. They're the ones who need us. You know who needs us right now? The people who got relatives locked up in their prison for profit system. That's who needs us right now. You know who needs us right now? It's the people who, have seen their relatives die from opioids because the big pharma corporations push doctors to overprescribe them. That's who needs us. The homeless people, the blocks and blocks of homeless people on Skid Row in Los Angeles. The people who used to have a house and a car and a decent American dream, and now they're living in a tent on Skid Row in California. That's who needs us right now. That's who needs us. The people in neighborhoods that are dotted up with foreclosed homes. That's who needs us right now. That's who needs us right now. Not AOC, not Kamala Harris, not Planned Parenthood. That's who needs us. And that is who we need to be organizing. Out of the movement to the masses. Out of the movement to the masses. They don't need us. They don't want us. And RCP did nothing but what you're supposed to do. They sucked up to the wokes. They organized, and they're better at it, I will say. I don't agree with what they're doing, but they're doing a good job of it. They're publicizing, taking off their clothes in churches and screaming about abortion. And do the wokes appreciate it and say, thank you very much, you authoritarian Marxists. We appreciate it. No, they don't. They don't need us. They don't need us. Stop pandering to wokes. Stop pandering to them. The second you compromise with wokeism, you've already lost. As far as they're concerned, because we support Russia, we're just as bad as neo-Nazis. Because we support Cuba, we're just as bad as neo-Nazis. Vosh has told me that to my face on the stream, and he wouldn't back down. I showed him that the Black Panthers, they all supported North Korea and Mao, and it didn't matter, right? As far as the wokes are concerned, we are just the same as neo-Nazis. We're just the same as white supremacists. We're just the same as Trump supporters. You're either with them or against them. And they are fascists. That's what they are. They want degrowth. They want the population to go down. Jimmy Dore did a great video recently about how the death rate in Britain is rising, is very high right now. And it's not because of COVID. I mean, it's scary what's going on right now. The death rate is through the roof. People are dying at a much higher rate. I mean, they are trying to exterminate the working class, not the whites, all the workers. They've been trying to exterminate the black people for years. Now they're trying to exterminate the white people as well, the Latino people. They don't need workers in their high-tech, low-wage economy. They're building a high-tech dark ages, and they don't need us. They don't need us in their high-tech dark ages, right? They've developed technology to the point they don't need workers at the assembly line. The market is glutted with products that cannot be sold. We stand outcast and starving amid the wonders we have made. They're trying to exterminate us. And the wokes are cheering for that extermination. They oppose the Dutch farmers because they want to continue putting out their crops. It's a woke policy from BlackRock that forced Sri Lanka into a famine where people are starving on the streets. The wokes are the enemy, folks, and they know that we're the enemy. I tried to be friends with the wokes, folks. I tried. You remember that? I tried very hard to be friends with the wokes. They don't want to be my friend. As far as they're concerned, if you're against the wars, if you support Julian Assange, you're the same as Hitler. So out of the movement to the masses. And look at what's happening to the RCP right now. Look at what's happening to them. The Revolutionary Communist Party did exactly what the wokes are saying to do. They have a hysterical, refuse fascism, stop Trump, and they canceled them. And they canceled them because they think we're the enemy. Anyone who's a real communist is going to get canceled by these people, right? As far as they're concerned, if you don't support what MSNBC and CNN say. If you have a dissident view, if you're not marching in lockstep behind Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, you deserve to be murdered. You deserve to be murdered. You deserve to be killed. And trust me, they say it to me all the time on Twitter. I mean, I've got so many messages, there's a reason we have to have armed guards at our conferences, right? These people, they hate communists with their heart and soul. They hate anything that resembles Marxism. Stop pandering to them. And that's what TSL, Workers' World, CPUSA, that's what they don't understand. They are still playing this game. They think Roosevelt is still the president. And Biden ain't Roosevelt. And Biden don't need us and don't want us. All right? And that the working people of America need us more than ever.